Welcome to Voices from the Field podcast presented by Extra Innings Softball, where the stories are real, the conversations are honest, and the game goes way beyond the field. We're bringing you insight, inspiration, and all things softball from the people shaping the sport.
Hello, Extra Innings Softball. It is another edition of Voices from the Field podcast. We are super excited about the young woman that we have today. It's quite an honor that she's giving us her time. She is full-blown in med school, just finished up a whole bunch of finals yesterday and some on Monday. So we're going to make sure we pick her brain, give her a little bit of an escape, and then get right back to what she's doing. But we are celebrating her excellence on the field, the brilliance in the classroom, the leadership in the community, and a heart of overflowing gratitude. It is UT Tyler alum who is just newly crowned the NCAA Women of the Year, Sam. And make sure I'm saying this right. Is it Schott?
Yes, Schott.
Well, I should have asked before we started to make sure I. But she's the first athlete in UT Tyler history to win the award and only the 5th Division II athlete ever. So it's just the second softball athlete to ever win this honor since it was created in 1991. So I think that checks about every awesome box that there is. Sam, welcome. And if I missed anything in that short little introduction, please go ahead and provide it.
No, that was great.
All right, so let's start with this. I want to kind of talk about your journey and the NCAA award as we go through this, but let's start with the big one. Sam, when you heard your name called out as the NCAA Woman of the Year, what was that moment like and what was going through your mind?
Yeah, I kind of said this earlier, but I really don't think I understood the magnitude of the award and what it was. So at first, I was shocked, but I didn't have the gratitude for it that I do now. And so in the moment, I was definitely surprised, and I called my mom, and my mom was crying, and so I was excited, but definitely as the weeks have gone on, I've realized how amazing of an award this is, and then how few athletes have won this award.
That's really cool. So the award, as I understand it, is rooted in Title IX and the honors the athletes who excel in athletics, in academics, and in community service. Obviously, if you look over your resume or spend any time, you've done all of that. But when you look back over your 4 years at UT Tyler, what part of your journey feels like the biggest reflection of all of those things put in?
Yeah, for sure, just the growth that I saw in myself and my outlook on life in general. College athletics is hard. It's gonna be hard for whatever program, whatever sport you're playing. And my freshman year, I think I got consumed in that mindset of just trying to get through the day. And before you knew it, freshman year flew by like that. We were at the World Series, and then our seniors played their last game, and I realized how quickly it is over. And so just my gratefulness for the place that God has me in and just soaking up every little moment because it all ends eventually. So you got to take it day by day and don't just get through the day, but soak in the day.
That's awesome. I love that. And I was particularly impressed when I went in there because obviously I do Faith Fridays on Extra Innings Softball. So I loved it when I saw that your life verse is Theologians 5:18 and it's give thanks in all circumstances. How has that verse kind of shaped your 4 years or even your life? If that's been your life verse or if it's, how has that shaped that? And now as you prepare to go into that medical field, how is that playing out in your life?
Yeah, I definitely adopted this as my life verse definitely in college, and a little bit about my faith journey. Like, I accepted Christ in my heart my junior year of high school. COVID, so that's a good thing that came out of COVID, but just kind of before then, you could say I wasn't necessarily the athlete who played with the best attitude. And travel ball, it was easy to, but high school ball, I don't think I really played the game the way it was supposed to be played. And so, but once I accepted Jesus Christ in my heart, it was just an eye opener for everything is a gift from Him, and we're blessed to bless others. And so from that moment on, that shifted my mindset, and then freshman year, when I realized it flew by at the World Series and I was hugging those seniors who would never step on the field again, that was like a wow moment for me, and
Yeah.
I really think that Bible verse truly just entitles my whole time at UT Tyler and my time now in med school.
Well, I wanna read these stats, so I'm gonna spend time reading because I can't read.
Okay.
They're pretty impressive, but I want people to understand your statistics while you were at UT Tyler for 4 years.
Mhm.
You had 211 starts, you were a three-time All-Region, you're a three-time All-LSC, two-time Golden Glove, hitting with a career of .327 with 137 RBIs, and you still to this day hold UT Tyler's record holder for sacrifice hits, so I think those are things that people need to hear over and over because, it's easy to have that mindset of being successful on the field with the numbers and the statistics. Matter of fact, in our sport, most athletes can get really tied into just looking at that. And
Mhm.
it sounds like to me as you played, your reflection was more outward and that's
Mhm.
therefore why those numbers actually reflected what you did. So you've played more games than anybody in UT Tyler history. So I guess you kind of know the program pretty good. Talk about what it was to have that durability. Maybe even explain to some of these young athletes that are getting ready to go into their first career of college or the 26 is going on, what it's like to be prepared both mentally and physically.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely came in with the mindset that I wasn't going to play freshman year. And I don't say go in with that mindset, but go in with being okay to be challenged by the girls around you and be okay with, okay, maybe I'm not the starting shortstop this year, but like don't use that as a setback and don't use that the inward reflection of you and who you are as an athlete, but use that as a moment to grow. And if you do look at my stats, my freshman year, I did not play the whole first part of the season. I started playing during postseason freshman year. And I think that just reflected the way I perceived it. Just going in with that mentality that, you know what, it will be okay if I don't start. But just know there will be opportunities for you to show yourself. And so it's up to you to take those moments and then just put in the hard work. College athletics is about growing with the girls next to you, but it's also about working harder than the girl next to you to also make them work harder. So that was kind of my thing, I guess you could say. I was always one of the first ones out to practice every day. So I was always hitting early in the cage and I was always staying after practice and hitting in the cage. And I think if you just have that grit mindset, if you're lacking in an area, stay after practice. Ask for extra help. If you struggled with something during practice that day, maybe stay after practice and work on that thing that you struggled with. And but college athletics, it's a sport, and just remember the reason why we started playing the sport in the first place. And it's not for the stats, it's not for all the awards and everything. We simply just did it for love of the sport. And if you're a follower of Christ, that's just a great opportunity for you to use that as a platform.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Reading all the articles, kind of trying to get to know who you were before this interview. I think one of the biggest standout quotes I heard came from your coach, Mike Reed. And he basically said, "You're the perfect balance of excellence and kindness." Where does that leadership style come from? Who do you give some credit on putting that and pouring that into your life?
Yeah, well, for sure scripture. I mean, if you just look how Jesus was for sure, like that's our goal as Christians is just to model who Jesus was. But I'm trying to think, cause my leadership style, I'm not gonna yell at you, I'm not gonna get in your face and stuff, but like I will hold you accountable. And Coach Springer, my travel ball coach, he was one of those steady characters in my life. He just always had such a joy with him when he was always around no matter what was going on at home. And then he wasn't the one who was gonna scream and get up in your face, but, like, he would hold you accountable, so maybe I got some of that from him.
Like that. I like that. Well, that's definitely fun to see, and I think you hit it on the head, and obviously, if you're a follower of Christ, you realize I've always called it, it's that it. It's the thing that you can look at someone and go, "I want what they have, and I don't understand what they have," and people who
Mhm.
don't know Christ put it to, "Oh, she's just gifted," or, "Oh, she's the coach's favorite," or, "She's all these different things."
Mhm.
You actually surrender. It's a sense of freedom that people don't understand unless
Mhm.
and it's kind of one of those things like when you know, you know, when you know who you're supposed to
Mhm.
marry, when you know where you're supposed to go to school, when you just have that total freedom, I think that's the part that is so cool. That's what I think kind of explains what you're saying. All right, let's switch to
Mhm.
let's talk about what game or moment or a teammate story that still gives you chills when you think back on it. Because I'm almost 60 years old and I have some of those moments
Mhm.
my life that I can still think back of, even though my daughter thinks I'm crazy. But back when I was on the field playing in college, do you have any of those you can share?
Yeah, I definitely have 2 for sure. One of them was my senior year. We were going down to Houston for a preseason tournament, and I actually got the call that I got accepted into med school on the bus. So all the girls were recording it and everything. So that was a really cool moment. Just the compiling of my 2 worlds, the academic side and the softball world. And then also definitely the first year after we won it my junior year. I call it my sappy song, but "Congratulations" by Post Malone was playing on the bus, and I was just bawling in the back of the bus. But then my senior year when we won, the first song that played over the speakers at the field, was "Congratulations" by Post Malone, so everybody was, like, running up to me and was like, "Sam, it's your song, it's your song." So, yeah, that's my sappy song, so
Like that.
"Congratulations" by Post Malone comes on, I'm probably gonna be teary-eyed.
So since you're talking about in your memories, and I want people to understand the things that she reflected on was really the outside moments. It wasn't an at
Mm,
bat. It wasn't a play. It
mhm,
wasn't a season. It was really the bus rides. It was the time and the memory with the people around you. But I
mhm,
want that to take us into what you talked about is learning that your two worlds collided. I want to read through some of the things that it says about your academic stuff and let you kind of reflect and talk about what those are and how you were able to juggle athletics and academics because that's a
mm,
huge juggle, and
mhm,
it's pretty time consuming, but you were part of the Elite 90 award winner or you were the Elite 90 award winner. You were a two-time academic All-American, highest GPA at the final site of competition, and now you're enrolled in UT Tyler Medical School class of 2029, which really doesn't it might seem like a long ways to you, but it's right around the corner, excuse me. So let's talk about that. You earned the highest academic award in college sports, the Elite
mhm,
90 award. How did you manage academics at such an elite level with playing 50 to 60 games in a spring season?
mhm. Yeah, it's definitely not the easiest journey, but it is such a privilege, and so just knowing you have the time in the day, it's just up to you to allocate that time in the day, and so that might mean that your teammates are going to get coffee and um, eating out and going to a restaurant or going to the movies that night. Like, I did have to miss some of that stuff for school, and it's hard in the moment, but, like, it is just you just have to remind yourself it's such a blessing to get to do both. And ultimately, you have to look at your life goals as well. And you don't have to go to every coffee date and dinner date with your teammates to form relationships with them. So that was something that was hard for me to realize. But the moment you realize that there's plenty of opportunities to form those relationships outside of that stuff and your allocated study time, then it is possible, so
Love that.
that might mean waking up early, but, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Well, let's talk about it because medical school is absolutely no joke. Anybody that knows anything about it knows what it is. What drew you to medicine? And was there a moment like in your world, or has it always something you want to do where you said, yep, this is my path?
For sure, growing up, just with my own medical journey and then my brother's, that was just something I saw myself doing. And then definitely my medical mission trips down to Guatemala was just the finalization that I did want to do medicine. So,
How did those mission trips kinda
mm,
shape the way you see yourself in medicine, or did they?
hmm for sure. Going down there, so I went down there 3 summers, and you think of all the different ways that you're gonna help these people down there in Guatemala, but what you don't realize is how much they impact you and change you as a person. So, honestly, I think we get so accustomed to the miracles of modern medicine, and just going down there and getting to give basic health care to those people just reminds you of how amazing medicine truly is, and then just how grateful the people were down there as well. I'm just a student. Like I ran some stuff around, but I was not the one performing surgery. Like that is all the surgeon.
Yeah.
But those people made sure to come up to me and hug me even though my name badge said student on it. So, just that gratefulness and just awe of medicine in general is definitely something that I wanna take with me and what I will take with me into my future career.
Any more mission trips on the near future?
I'm trying to get it organized with the school right now, so, it's school schedule is chaotic, but, I'm thinking it will be in the near future for sure.
That's awesome. Alright, I think we talked a little bit this about before, but I want the audience to hear. Do you have any idea yet on a specialty, or are you just staying too completely wide open?
Yeah, earlier I said my interest, it's kind of with general surgery, but I honestly have no clue. Honestly, I'm biased towards sports and
Yeah.
then I just love patient interaction. So family med is always an option. So I'm just super open to everything right now.
That's really cool. So I want to kind of shift and kind of pick your brain because I think it's really important for us to go to the minds of the greats in the past, and your past is just recent past. So it's even probably more relevant for the athletes to kind of hear just some of your thoughts on recruiting and NIL and the transfer portal, all the hot topics within our sport. But as you've kind of watched, because you're kind of really you were a COVID kid and now you're on that middle of that road of just all the landscape changing with the NIL,
Mhm.
the transfer portal, social media pressures. What do you see as the biggest challenge and or the biggest opportunity for student athletes today?
Yeah, the hot topic is always NIL deals. And personally, I just say, remember why you started this sport. It wasn't to make all this money, it was to truly just soak in the sport and love the sport. So, personally, I did like one NIL thing, and there's nothing wrong with it, and the opportunity is there for you. Definitely take it, but let those avenues pursue you. Don't catch yourself up with all that stuff because that's not why we started the sport in the first place, in my personal opinion.
I love
But then recruiting's hard. My recruiting process was really hard because I had a bunch of offers and then COVID hit and all those schools said, "We're sorry, we can't recruit anymore." And I was kind of stuck and I didn't really know where life was gonna take me, but, there is a place for everybody, and I know that that was always said when I was getting recruited, but just getting to work camps and see all the different colleges and junior colleges, and NAIA schools,
it.
um there's just schools for every single person if you wanna play college athletics, and honestly, division doesn't matter. I was so caught up in division when I was in high school, and honestly, UT Tyler is the best thing that happened to me, and I won 2 national championships out of it, so just trust the process and, if a school isn't interested in you, that's fine. Move on and that's not the place for you. Don't dwell in that moment and I think I got caught in the dwelling phase when schools told me no, and that's just God's plan for you somewhere else, and
I love that.
so
And I wanna say something or ask you because I wanna dive a little deeper into this because I was gonna kinda ask I'm really big on trying to get young people to understand the recruiting process is really just a fit. Find the right
Mhm.
fit, uh,
It
and find the right pond to swim in, and people do get so caught up in all the bells and buzzers and whistles of what that
Mhm.
actually is, but there's an absolute fit. So when you were going through that because I don't think people really understand how hard COVID was for your
Mhm.
group. You know, you're right smack in the middle of everything everyone's going through right now is
Mhm.
7. It's all these bells and then it's just ripped from you. It's
Mhm.
taken away and it's like, yeah, just put your life on hold, yet your life's not on hold. And
Mhm.
I loved hearing how you said that when you were going through that and say, how did UT Tyler find you? How did you find them? And then what made it that perfect fit where you went, I'm going, other than God, obviously, God,
Mhm.
and he opens doors and shuts
Yeah.
doors. But how did you know that that's where you were gonna be, to be able to win 2 national titles, hold all these records, be named NCAA Woman of the Year, and land at medical school?
Mhm. Honestly, if you asked me my senior year if Tyler was the right place for me, I would have told you I don't know. And that is okay because any college you're gonna go to, you're moving off from home, you're in a new place, new people, so it's okay to not be 100%, and I definitely was not in high school. I had some signs from God that did tell me that was the right place, but I still was very unsure, and even freshman year, I was still kind of on the boat, on the fence, you would say, but, you just have to trust the process and just pour into the whole, um, culture of your school, and you know what? It's okay to not be 100% because gosh, I can't even tell you what I'm 100% about in my life besides my faith, but
That's
that's
awesome. That's awesome.
so that's life in general, and I know it's easier said than done, but you just have to buy into the process, buy into your school, just be a good person and care about your school and want the best for it, and just trust God and He'll take His path with you.
I love that. I think that's a perfect time to transfer or go I'd say transfer, but go right transfer portal. What do
Yeah.
you think is the biggest difference? Because I mean, like most things in life, I think there's a case for it no matter what in some
Mhm.
circumstances. But what do you think is the biggest difference between people moving for growth versus moving to escape discomfort? And how can an athlete in your mind, now that you've been there and gone through it, really kind of decipher between that? Because there are times and my daughter's going to the University of Arkansas, and it
Mhm.
decides she wants to be a marine biologist her sophomore year in college. That's not happening at Beaver Lake. So, then the
Mhm.
transfer portal makes sense. But how would you guide a young woman now that's in college and saying, are you moving for growth or are you moving to escape discomfort?
Mhm. For sure. And I think that's the big topic of our generation. And honestly, I've had some of my best friends transfer out of Tyler and they went off and they did great things. But that's just something that it's easier said than done. But just because you're failing doesn't mean you're being set back. Just use that failure as growth, and if you don't play your first year, alright, well, are you gonna be able to work harder and play the next year? And honestly, I think it's easy to say, "Oh, well, I'm not playing, so I'm just gonna transfer." Okay, well, you're not playing because 'cause you're not putting in the hard work, or you're not playing because of something that you can't control. And then I think once it gets to the point where your mental health is being impacted and you truly just don't love the community you're in, then that's something you need to think about. One thing about Tyler is yeah, we work hard because we've won 2 national championships, so we work hard, but, our community we have with us girls is like a family, and that is one thing that kept me there, and it truly strengthened me. I know freshman year, everybody would always ask me, "Well, why are you staying here? You're not playing. Why are you staying? Why are you staying?" And my answer was always, "I can see myself becoming a better person out of this program." And that's something, honestly, staying in touch with the alumni of the program. What are those alumni like? And if you talk to UT Tyler and our alumni, all of them say it's hard in the moment, but it is so worth it in the end. So you really have to internalize that as well. So personally, though, my freshman year, I looked at it as I can see myself growing from this program. It's not easy now, and I'm not necessarily playing, but I can see myself being a better person.
I love that. All right, so I want to kind of switch to kind of Sam's role within the game now. You know,
Mhm.
I always contend women like yourself that were so successful in the game and are moving on successfully through career. You always kind of dapple and kind of stay in it in
Mhm.
some regard. What do you see your role in softball now? Mentoring, speaking, staying connected through UT Tyler, using your NCAA Woman of the Year award.
Mhm.
What do you see your role in the game now?
Yeah, I really right now my goal is to just encourage the younger generation in correlating their faith and softball all in one. 'Cause that's something I didn't necessarily have growing up. I definitely had the tools, I had everything set up to pursue a faith in softball, but that those younger years, I definitely didn't, and if I could go back and do something different, that's what I'd wanna do. So,
I love
I'm actually working on research right now at the med school, and I'm hoping to write a book for college athletes, and it's just about mental health, but through the faith perspective. So
that.
that is in the works and very new, but that is one way that I want to continue to give back.
I hope that you go into sports medicine because I think a lot of times when athletes have that setback in an injury, that's a big opportunity to present a lot of things because a lot of
Mhm.
that's their identity through that, and it's taken away. And I think having someone like yourself would be awesome.
Mm.
It's the biggest leadership lesson that you would want to share with the next generation. Like if you were looking at yourself at 10, 12, 14, and either somebody said something to you that made you go, that's my aha moment, or that's something you lean into, or what do you know now that you wish someone would have said to you that you'd like to share?
Yeah, for sure. Don't be afraid to hold people accountable. There's a way to do it, and you have to find your rhythm to do that. But as Christians, we're called to hold others accountable and teach them to be more Christ-like and show them who Jesus is, but you can't do that by standing to the side and let them just doing what they wanna do, so hold people accountable in that moment. I know it's scary and I still need to work on it, but, for sure, just hold your teammates accountable.
I love that. So I have some just random questions, and it's questions that I compile all the time from other interviews that I think, I hear the same thing over and over. So when I get the opportunity to ask it of people that can share some wisdom, that's definitely one I want to ask. So the first one that comes to mind is we focus a lot on the athletes. One of the groups that I think is the most ignored are parents.
Mhm.
And I would love them to hear from you because someone who's looking at their young child getting ready to turn into a woman and go off to college, or someone who's looking at their, teenager that's getting ready to go into the recruiting process. If you had a message, an overall message that you could share with parents that you think would help them understand maybe where their daughter's at, or maybe what they're thinking or what they're going through, or even just something they might need, what would it be?
Yeah, I think a lot of the times now girls go through burnout, and I think a lot of that can stem from the parents, and personally, my parents are not sports fanatics by any means, and they never forced me to do anything. So I think that is something that I never fell out of love with the sport. I saw a bunch of my teammates go through burnout, especially when you get to college when your parents aren't there anymore. Burnout's easy. So just let your kids find their own path. And you know what? If they strike out because they didn't go to the cage that weekend with you, that's a learning moment for them. And maybe that will cause them to want to do it on their own. But be there to support them, but don't force things on them. Because personally, my parents didn't. And I think that was one of the biggest blessings.
I love that. You've been in the dugout probably with thousands of different types of characters or players.
Hmm.
In your opinion and in your reflection looking back, what separated the good from the great in your eyes?
Yeah. One person I can think of is my best friend Riley. And Riley played at Harding and she came in, got newcomer of the year, all this stuff. So she has an accolade of her own. But Riley Price wasn't just somebody who played the sport. She poured into you off the field. Riley knew every little detail about you and knew your favorite go-to Sonic drink, your favorite fast food place. She just knew all these things about you, and I just think that speaks to her character, and somebody like that is somebody who just reflects the Lord on the field, and he just shows through her abilities and the way she impacts her teammates. I think the good are great softball players, but I think the great are good softball players who have a way wider impact on their teammates than just accolades. That's somebody that you'll remember for the rest of your life.
Yeah. And I think what I want everyone to hear, because it's what I'm hearing, is everything is more outward than inward. And
Mhm.
everything that you're saying, it's more outward than inward, even from the accountability, from knowing your teammates. And I've done a lot of interviews in the last week or so out of the class of 2026. And what I was so tickled with is when I said, what are a couple goals of your freshman year? And I think 60 to 70% of them said the very first thing out of their mouth is, I want to be a great teammate. And I thought,
Mm.
"Hey, maybe we're turning a
That
corner here," and I'm like, I'm an old lady and I'm getting goosebumps going, "Holy cow,
yeah.
these people don't even know what they're absolutely getting out of these young women."
Mhm.
I think that's so huge. And like I said, for you, what you said is when you're grounded in your faith, it's really not anything you're doing. It's just where he's putting you.
Mhm.
It's giving glory back to him. Yes, it's an accolade. It's all that kind of stuff, but it gives you a platform like what you've had, because I've heard you bring it back to your faith at least 8 out of the 10 questions
Mm.
I've asked. And so that's an opportunity to speak his name. And I think
Mhm.
cool. All right. So you're sitting in front of a young woman who's maybe just struggling with confidence.
Mhm.
What would be the way you would approach them, maybe as a coach or as a parent or even self-talk?
Yeah. We always hear it, but it is a game of failure. And honestly, I struggled with the mindset that, oh, well, I'm just going to stay in the cage. I'm going to hit 30 extra minutes and I'm going to do all this, do all that. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. And kind of my senior year, I got in a little bit of a slump, and that was how it was. I was putting in all the work. It wasn't working out for me. But just telling yourself, we don't play this game for stats. We don't play this game for clout. We play this game because we were given an ability to play it. And just being rooted in that, and that your identity is not found in your performance on the field, but who lives inside your heart, and just use that as a moment to reflect being a great teammate as well. The more you focus on others, the less you focus on yourself, and the less you can beat yourself up.
Yeah.
And then something we always say here at med school is, "You're not a pinata, don't beat yourself up." So,
I like that. Man, I'm gonna adopt that in my life. That's gonna be I might get a T-shirt made up with that.
yeah.
Well, it's Thanksgiving, and as we start to wrap up this, podcast, I would love just to get some rapid fire questions with you just to have fun.
All right.
What's your favorite Thanksgiving food?
Pecan pie.
Alright, what's the most overrated?
Dressing.
Okay. If your UT Tyler team had to build a Thanksgiving dinner using only one player's personality, who's making that dish?
Ooh. Taryn Barney.
Alright. Alright, softball question. Oh, no, let's do this. What are you the most thankful for?
just being able to live in a country where we can express our faith so freely.
That's really cool. All right, fun softball questions. If you could add one new rule to the college softball game, what would it be and why?
Everybody only gets 4 years of college softball.
I like that.
Uh,
That's
personally,
coming from a COVID kid.
that's a hard topic for me, but, I only got 4 years and
I love that. I love that. And if you could name a team besides UT Tyler, because that's got to be your number one, what would be the
Mhm.
favorite one that you want to watch for this upcoming season?
Oklahoma, I just love their faith approach to the game, and I love how everybody wants them to lose because that's personally how it felt at Tyler sometimes, so I just love the way they approach the game through a faith aspect, so
I like that.
OU, but, I'm a Texas girl, so it's
Yeah.
the red rivalry, I don't really know, but
You've got a few then.
Yes.
That's good. All right. So if you were to pick out, you can pick out more than one, but I'm going to ask you to pick out a player that most reminds you of how the U played. Someone that you
Mhm.
could say that this generation, this next season could say, hey, this is Sam Schott. Maybe I never got to see her play, but this is who it is. Who would it be?
Mm. One of the girls I do get to do batting lessons with, Layton Chisholm, so she's going into her freshman year of high school. Layton is not the tall kid. She is a little shorty like me, but she is one of the hardest workers that I have seen, and it's just awesome to see her every now and then at camps and do lessons with her. So that girlie, gotta give her a shout out. She's a little baller.
I
So.
love that. I love that. All right. So as we wrap up, if you could leave this audience with a golden nugget, a piece of wisdom, or if there's one thing that maybe someone only tuned in at the very end to hear, what would it be?
Mhm. We are blessed to bless others, and this game is a blessing, so use it to bless others.
Sam, I can't thank you enough. Hey, what a blessing it's been in my life. What a light you are in our sport and beyond. Obviously, you've shown the softball world that it's bigger than the game, and I think
Mhm.
that's the biggest thing. You've given us some great information for people to lean into. Excuse me. And I think the medical field is going to feel the same impact softball.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so
I
much.
wish you absolutely the best in everything that you do. And if my daughter needs medical sports surgery in the next 10 years, I think I'll be looking you up. So thank you.
I'll know some people if not.
There you go. I'll call you for a recommendation, even if you're not in it.
Alright.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
It was so nice meeting you.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Voices from the Field, presented by Extra Inning Softball. Don't forget to follow us on social media, subscribe to us on Spotify, and visit our website at extrainningsoftball.com for more stories, rankings, and updates from around the game. We'll see you guys next week.